everyone, welcome back. I missed you guys. Okay, so today we're gonna do my right hand, and I decided to just jump right into some Valentine's Day mani. So today I'm gonna be using all colors from Triple D. This one is called Baby Love. So later on in the video, I'm gonna show you a close-up of this one. I got little hearts in it, and it's super cute. Next up is My Heart. So this one I actually chose because Miranda from Corgi Whiny Nails had it on her last mani, and it was just so gorgeous that I had to pull it out in my collection to use it too. And then I decided to go with Pals number 3 because it just flowed so well with this mani. So of course I'm going to go ahead and use my favorite liquids. These are from Triple D. And then that bottle holder, you guys, is from Chaos Concepts. It's called the Liquid Chaos Trio. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the solid color, which again is called My Heart. And this is like one of those like pale pastels, baby pink. You guys, it's like really light pink, but it's so easy to work with. It doesn't get patchy, and it has really good coverage. So if you guys are still looking for that perfect baby pink, this one is it. So for my first layer, you guys, I did put some dip base 3/4 of the way up the nail, and then I'm going to do the pour over method. Then I'm going to go ahead and use this cuticle tool to clean up my sidewalls and any excess that I don't need off the side of my nails. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and then dust off the excess. Now the next step, this is when I start doing my full coverage of dip base. I'm going to go ahead and do this twice. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some dip base, but just enough to cover my entire nail without flooding my cuticle or my sidewalls. Once you got that down, we're going to go ahead and then take our dip powder again, and we're going to do the pour over method, making sure that you cover all of that dip base. You want to make sure that the powder soaks up all of that dip base and you don't have like no empty spaces. Now I also bumped my nail a little bit. This is kind of why I like to do the pour over method instead of dunking my nail in, because I bumped it on the side of the jar. And I also got a little speck of glitter right there. I don't know where that glitter came from, but I'm going to show you guys how to remove that. So first I'm going to go ahead and clean my cuticles, like all of that excess stuff that I don't need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that same cuticle tool, and I'm actually going to go ahead and just kind of try to, I don't want to say pick it out or pick it off, but I'm kind of just trying to gently scrape it out until I can remove it. Once you're satisfied on how that looks like, we're going to go ahead and go in with our second full layer of dip base and dip powder. So again, you're going to go ahead and grab just the right amount to cover your entire nail. We're going to make sure it's completely covered. Also, you guys, make sure you wipe your brushes on that napkin before you return it to the bottle to avoid contamination. Like I said, once you have that full coverage of dip base, we're going to go ahead and do the pour over method to cover that entire nail once again with the powder. You guys, look at that coverage. It is so good. I love this pink. It's so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this just in case if I bump my nail on it again on anything else. So I just want to make sure I do this before I move on. I do this every once in a while in between my nails, and this is just how I started doing my manis. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with my thumb. I'm going to go ahead and do the same process, but this time I'm just going to go ahead and let you guys watch, and then I will be right back before we move on. Okay, you guys, next up is Pals 3. Now, I'm only going to use this on my pinky, so I don't need the full jar. We're going to go ahead and sift it up a little bit just to make sure all of the glitters are at the top. And since we are doing glitters, I'm only going to do 2 coats. So my first coat is going to be really, really close to the cuticle, like literally almost a full coat. And then I'm going to go ahead and lay my finger down into the cupcake liner. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and take my cuticle tool and clean up the sidewalls and then dust off. So I actually like to tap my glitters down flat and flush to make sure like nothing is sticking up. That way when I do my clear capping with my clear, nothing is kind of like too bumpy or sticking up out of place. So now we are ready for our second coat, and the second coat is the full coat, and this one is where you get the closest to the cuticle as possible without touching it. We're going to do a full coat of that, and then we're going to go ahead and lay our finger down in the cupcake liner again. We're going to go ahead and clean up whatever we need to clean up and then dust off any excess that we have. Okay, so now we're ready to clear cap. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a full layer of dip base again. We want to make sure that you get all the nooks and crannies of those glitters. So take your time on this, making sure you don't flood the glitters, but also make sure you put enough so everything is completely covered. And then you're going to take your favorite clear cap. And to me, I'm going to go ahead and use double dip today, but I just dunk it into my clear because I use this one for all my glitters. So I do recommend that if you do use your clears, to have one just for your glitters. And now for the star of the show, Baby Love. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and actually just pour this, all of it, into the cupcake liner because I wanted to show you guys how pretty it is. So I don't know if you can tell, but hopefully the camera picks it up. Look at all those different shapes of hearts. There's pink ones and like really, really light pink ones, and there's also rose gold like flakes in it, but there's also like tiny shimmery glitters. I don't know, you guys, this one has so many elements to it, but it is such a beautiful dip. This is definitely one of my favorites when it comes to like Valentine's Day manis. That's why I chose it first. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same process like I did my pinky for my ring finger and pointer. The only thing is, since this is a chunkier glitter, sometimes you have to remove some glitters and add some glitters in some places. When we add glitters, I call it spot adding because you're only adding to a certain spots. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch, and then I'll pop back in a little bit, and I'll kind of like walk you through what I'm doing when I start doing the spot adding. Also, you guys, just really quick, I don't think I mentioned it, but that finger rest that I'm using is from Chaos Concepts as well. They come in a set where like there's a taller one and a shorter one. Right here, I'm using the shorter one. I just wanted to mention that because I don't think I said it earlier. So right here is where we start kind of like taking out the glitters that we don't need. And I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes you're gonna get too much glitter in certain areas, so I like to just move them onto my napkin and kind of save them for later, because we're gonna then add up to the spaces that look like they need glitters. So right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and just take away these two pink ones. I already took away the two lighter hearts, And I don't know if you can tell, but they're already down in on the napkin down there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and use my thumb to kind of press down all the other, like the foils and the other glitters, so they don't stick up before I do the clear capping. Okay, so I decided that this area right here in particular was looking kind of empty. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take that that cleaning cuticle tool, and I'm gonna go ahead and actually use that to help me put the glitters in place. So I just put a little bit of dip base, then I tapped the point of it, I guess the front of the cuticle tool, into my dip base to help me pick up the glitter and just place the glitter where I needed it to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys watch while I do my pointer finger, and then I'll pop back in a little bit. Now right here, you guys, I did speed it up a little bit, but I still wanted to explain it through. Right here, I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking away certain areas that look like it's too much, but then adding it into places that I think it needs it the most. So again, I do this for all of my chunky glitters just until I feel it looks right. Okay, so now that the index and middle finger are done, we're gonna go ahead and clear cap. So again, you wanna take your dip base and do a full coat of that. And then again, I'm just gonna go ahead and put it into my jar. I'm just gonna go ahead and dunk it, or kind of like lay it in there, not like forcefully dunk it, but kind of like lay it in there, just to make sure that all the dip base is completely covered. All right, once that is done, you're gonna go ahead and activate the rest of your nails. Now, you guys, I am gonna go ahead and file and buff off camera. I file a little bit slower when it comes to my left hand doing the filing on my right. But I did want to show you guys how I kind of clean up my cuticle area. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and do that on camera with you guys. So what I do is I'm actually gonna go ahead and take my drill, and I'm gonna go ahead and change the bit to this like pointier one. And then I'm gonna go ahead and set it to about 8 to 10, depending on like how comfortable I am. Usually when I do my left hand, it's usually on 8. I don't go to 10 that much. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of run this drill tip or drill bit. I guess it's a tip also. But I'm gonna go ahead and run this drill bit right along my cuticle area. And that's gonna help me clean up all of that space in between, like where the powder kind of looks like it got stuck onto my skin kind of thing. Now, all of my nail besties do this technique, and that was actually kind of intimidating because of the shape of the drill bit. But you guys, it is such a game changer. I always said this before on one of my videos, but you want to make sure that you let the drill do the work for you. You don't want to force it. What I mean by that is you don't want to do it with a heavy hand. Honestly, all you do is kind of like me right now. I'm just rubbing against that edge of like where the powder is and the cuticle area is at, and I'm not putting any pressure down. I'm just letting the cuticle bit do the work for me. Okay, you guys, so here's my nails completely filed. Now we're ready to do the top coat. But before we do the top coat, we got to put one more layer of activator. This layer of activator does not have to be as generous as your first layer. I just make sure that it's completely covered, like covered the entire nail. And then after that, I let it sit for about a minute or so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and take a lint-free wipe with some alcohol on it, and then I'm going to go ahead and wipe down the alcohol to like make sure I take off any of that excess activator, just so I make sure it doesn't harden my dip top coat brush. All right, once your alcohol is completely dry, you can go ahead and start with your dip top coat. So we're going to go ahead and do our first layer. You want to make sure that is really super thin. Using the Triple D liquids, it's easy to do. In my opinion, it's easy to do the top coat because her liquids are already thin. But when you do have thin liquids, you also want to make sure that you don't flood the cuticle area or grab too much product on your brush, because that also can like flood the sidewalls too. So just be careful when you're grabbing the product onto your brush not to have too much. So again, we're going to go ahead and do our first thin layer, making sure that we're going to completely cover the entire nail. You want to do this in about 3 strokes, maybe 4. I think I usually do about 3 to 4. But also, you guys, make sure you wipe your brush onto a paper towel or napkin before you return it to the bottle, because you want to avoid contamination. Once your first layer is done, usually you're ready to go on into your second layer once you are done with your pinky. So again, it's the same process, you guys. You want to make sure that it's completely covering the entire nail but without flooding the cuticle. Also, this is where you want your layers to be more precise, and this is also where you are wanting to cap your free edge or the front of your nail. For all my ladies who like to wear their manis for about 2 to 3 weeks, this is very important, because capping your free edge or the front of your nail is going to help your manis last. I don't do it in my videos, I apologize, but I take my manis off every 3 days or so. But again, for all my ladies who want to wear for 2 to 3 weeks, make sure you cap your free edge. All right, you guys, this is how we're looking so far. Now for me, a mani is not complete until you add some cuticle oil to put that hydration back into your skin. All right, you guys, and this is our final result. I'm so in love with this mani. I cannot wait to see yours. Don't forget to comment and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.